Namaste. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Sat Sri Akal. Welcome. So, we've had these 9 nights of Navaratri, the 9 nights of the goddess, of the deity. And we are in the final 3 days. So, coming up to Friday. So, we're going to be working with Saraswati, the great deity of music, of science, of culture, of art, poetry, all of the things that bring beauty and meaning to our existence. And Saraswati sits on a lotus flower, a white lotus flower. And I'll refer to Saraswati as Shri, because she contains the Shakti energy. The Shakti energy is the creative life force pulse of the universe. And it is referred to in this sense as traditionally as the goddess. But that is our human understanding. But it actually refers to sort of the intangible essence of life, which has no form, which is beyond form, but it is how we comprehend the power of the deity. So, my friends, make sure you have available all that you need for your practice. It may be some blocks, perhaps a folded blanket, a cushion, anything that helps the earth feel more stable and secure for your foundation, or that you can reach for so that the distance is not so far. Our practice of asana, this physical practice, in my philosophy and the philosophy in the way in which I practice yoga, is that yoga is a practice of strength building, certainly, and to support our mobility. But within that, we stay in a place that feels steady, that feels stable, that feels secure for us. And that is definitely welcoming the use of props. I'm always near a wall or near some furniture, so that when I wobble and I wibble, I have something that I can reach for. And then I don't get into this place where I start like beating myself up for not being stable enough or strong enough. I am enough. This is me, and the earth offers me everything that I need for my journey. Let's come into Sukhasana. Place a cushion or a blanket or a block underneath the sit bones. Lengthen through the spine. For our mudra today, let's come into Gian Mudra. This is the seal of wisdom. Thumb and index together. Palms face up on your thighs or knees. Take a full breath in. Hold that breath in for a moment and then exhale through open mouth to come into your practice, to come into this moment of stillness on your mat. Closing your eyes or gazing down towards the earth, softening the gaze where your eyes are open. I invite you to begin to visualize your seat, the place on earth in which you are holding your seat in this very present moment. Visualize a lotus flower, 1,000-petaled lotus flower. Perhaps it is white, golden, that sort of golden sunset color. Perhaps it is a rainbow with all the different shades of the rainbow in it. Of any color that feels natural to in nature, that you may see in the sky or on the earth. And imagine that you are seated on this 1,000-petaled lotus, graceful, calm, tranquil, in harmony with the true self, in relationship with your own essence, your authentic expression, the expression of your highest self in this moment. Matters not that we were cross or grumpy. Those emotions and moods we can let go of. They're like the changing weather. We are like the deity, the divine representation of all that is beautiful and wonderful and amazing in nature. Imagine that there's an aura around you, emanating from the lotus flower and encapsulating your whole essence, glowing, shimmering, either perhaps brightly shimmering or softly glowing. Whatever expression feels harmonious with yourself. Let's drop down into the Swathi Sun Chakra here at the very root, at the pelvis below the navel. If you wish, you can bring your hands into Yoni Mudra by bringing the thumbs to connect, the index to connect, your palms flat against your body. So you create a triangle, downward pointing triangle here. And here at the Swathi Chakra, visualize the essence of orange. And within this essence, there's a circle, the moon, the full moon in its silver brightness. And within this full moon, there lies a crescent moon. Our mantra for today is Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Invoking the ultimate reality of this deity, which is connecting us to the beauty of the arts, the intelligence of science, the integrity of wisdom. We'll chant that 3 times and then Om together. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Hands in Namaskar at the heart. Om. 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 Welcome, friends. Now, I'm not going to be able to stop myself from smiling today because this journey through the 9 nights has this transformative effect on the individual. So the first 3 nights were dedicated to Durga and the courage and fearlessness with which this deity inspires us to lean into challenge, to step up to the call for action. And so that can feel, there can be resistance there. There can be a lack of self-confidence in that, or a lack of clarity, or not being able to hear what is required or needed of us. And those 3 nights can feel quite challenging. And then the next 3 nights that we went into were with Lakshmi. Lakshmi reminds us of all of the abundance and riches of love, compassion, faith, the abundance of love that we feel in relationship with the self and with others. And so that boosts our confidence, our trust, our faith, that once we commit ourselves, once we dedicate ourselves to this path of change and transformation, we will meet richness and prosperity of both the spiritual, the emotional, and also the material world. But the material world, yes, that's important for us as individuals, but it is more significant to us, our spiritual and our soul journey. And once we are able to move with compassion towards compassion, then our community begins to feel the benefits of that. That community begins to feel the effects, the ripple effects of that. And these final 3 nights are dedicated to Saraswati. And this is when we come into that sense of, okay, all is right. There is harmony within the self and in my relationships with others. There is beauty in all, in my perspectives. Yes, I see where there is suffering. I see where change is called for, but I also am optimistic and hopeful in that. So yes, I will smile, my friends, throughout this practice. Enough of my talking. Always spend lots of time talking here. Let's come into our Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, butterfly pose. Place your hands on your shins, your ankles, all around your toes. Lengthen here through the crown. Open across the heart. Draw up. Lift your gaze, my friends, up towards the sky. In your mind's eye, visualize the sky above. The night sky. And all the stars and swirling galaxies. All the unknown possibilities ahead of us. And now, as you exhale, my friends, reach the heart forward. And then when you've reached as far forward as you can with your heart, begin to bring your gaze down towards the earth. Forward fold here, going as far forward as you wish, or staying more upright. I'm wearing quite tight leggings, so I won't go too far forward, my friends. My belly is telling me, stay here. Om I'm Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Reflect on all the ways in which you are able to express yourself through creativity. The ways that the things that bring you joy. Is it reading? Is it writing? Is it drawing? Is it dance? Is it gardening? Is it enjoying a good film? One more breath, reflecting here on the creative power of the universe and the creative power of the self. Inhale, rise up. Extend the left leg long, tuck in the right heel. Let's counter twist over to the right. So bring your hands over to the right. Extend that left leg long. Flex the foot. Open your heart so that you create this turning at the torso here. 3 breaths here. Inhale. Let's flow over to the other side. So place the right hand on the outside of the right knee here. Now slide this right hand all the way down the right leg here. Now, my friends, you may reach your foot or you may stay on the side of that left leg. If your hand reaches the foot, you also have the option of taking hold of a belt here, my friends, or a tie, or keep your hand tucked in on the left side of that left leg. Now, this left hand that's behind you can reach over and cross the right leg and grasp the other side of your leg or foot. So you have a cross at the elbows or the wrists and hinge forward here. So remember, this cross at the wrist can be anywhere on your legs, my friends. You may also be using a belt, and if you're using a belt or a tie, again, cross the wrists. You can be close to the leg or lifted from the leg. We are where we are. We are who we are. Our practice is what it is. Celebrate that. Celebrate being here. Celebrate for taking time for yourself, whether that is yoga practice, or whether it's a walk in nature, or whether it's setting out time to splash paint across the canvas in a most meaningful way. 3 more breaths here in Janushrasasana. Let's draw the legs back up towards the body. Bring the hands to your heart, coming into Padma Mudra. Padma means lotus. So heels of the hands together, the side of the palm and the little finger together, the side of the thumbs together, and the middle 3 fingers opened up like a flower, Padma, the lotus flower here. Inhale, reach overhead. Lengthen here. Now, my friends, some of you will know the prayer wheel, the lotus prayer wheel, and some of you, it will be new. So let's practice that. And this will require a little bit of just kind of figuring it out. And you might go the wrong way, and that's okay. So hands in lotus at the heart. And then let's bring the hands together, point the fingers down and open out the palms so that the thumbs are together and the index together. So you create this yoni mudra, this triangle, downward pointing triangle. Then turn the fingers in towards the heart, bring the backs of the hands together. Fingers rotate up, open out your hands like a book. And then bring the thumb together and the little finger together back into Padma. And then we'll do this all the way up. And with practice, this will become one fluid movement. So we rotate, so Padma, hands together, fingers down, yoni, backs of hands open like a book, move back into Padma, and then keep moving your arms up. So that should be enough practice for us. We'll come back to this throughout our yoga sequence today. So just remember how to do that. Let's take this right foot and bring it to the right ankle to the top of the right thigh and keep this leg half open here. So we're going to keep the ankle on just above the knee and then open out this right knee. And you might want to press the right hand there gently. You can hold I like to interlace my fingers between my toes. Flex that left foot. So we're opening up at the hip here on the right side. Lengthen through the crown. And now, my friends, let's slide that right leg all the way across so the ankle is on the earth and the knee, right knee is above the left knee. Half Gomukhasan pose. Ardha Gomukhasan. Lengthen here. And now, my friends, bring your Padma to the heart. Open out, curl the middle fingers in, extend the thumb and the index, and then bring the right hand to the earth and left hand to the sky, and take your gaze up with you so that you open across the heart. Take the gaze up towards the sky. Exhale over to the left. Inhale through center, bring the left hand down, reach up with the right hand. Right arm, have here this angle again, this opening across the heart. Left hand on the earth, up and over with the right arm. And back to center. I'm just not here piece quite often. And now, my lovelies, let's bring the sole of the foot onto the earth, the right foot. Hug that leg in, sweep out the left arm, wrap it around the right leg, or cross the elbow, left elbow to the outside of the right leg. Again, let's fold in the middle fingers and keep the ring and little finger extended. Turn your heart over to the right. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Half seated twist. Inhale, center, counter twist over to the left. And then let's undo this right leg. You might want to bend into it a little bit first before extending it out long, and then folding in the left heel. So let's do a little counter twist over to the left. Fingers on the earth. Turn the heart towards the left. Inhale through center, countered. Twist over to the right. Now, as you're here to the right, let's slide this left hand that's on the outside of that right thigh or knee all the way down the leg as far as it can reach. So it might be your lower calf, it might be your ankle, it might be the little toe side of your foot. This right hand can cross over so that you come into a cross at the wrist here. And then draw your heart down towards your knee. Remember, your hands can be crossed anywhere on your legs. And if you're using a belt or a tie, again, cross the wrists. Right over left. Keep that right foot flexed. So as we were talking in the previous 2 sessions about Navaratri, each night in itself, as well as being dedicated to the, what we call the Saraswati and these sort of kind of the more significant deities, they're also Devis or deities that are individually dedicated, have each night dedicated to them. And so we'll talk about that over the next couple of rounds. Inhale, rise up. Bring your hand into Padma at the heart. And then let's do our little prayer wheel. So remember, Padma is little finger and thumbs are connected to the opposite. Then you bring the palms together, turn the fingers down, keeping the index and the thumb connected. So you create a triangle. Rotate the fingers in towards your heart so the backs of your hand come together. Open out like pages of a book. Little finger joins, and then thumbs join into Padma, and we go all the way up. And like, why are we doing this? We're doing this because firstly, what we're doing is we're engaging all the different layers of the self in the practice. We're not mindless like sitting here in our practice. We're energetically focusing the energy into movement, which is both large and small. So our whole self is turning up to the practice. And this practice is dedicated to yoga. It's a South Asian practice. Its roots are in India. And so we draw upon the celebrations, the deities, the philosophy that underpins this practice. Let's take this left leg and cross the left ankle onto the right thigh. And then with the left hand, draw that left knee gently down. Interlace your fingers between the toes of the right hand and lengthen here. So you might notice that there's a big gap on this side. You might have more space or less space. One hip might be tighter than the other. Notice that. Three full breaths here. With each breath, visualize the flowering of the heart. The lotus, we have a lotus at each chakra point throughout the body. And they all have different number of petals. And each petal is associated with a quality. At the heart, we have 12 petals. So with the breath, imagine those flowers opening and closing as you breathe in and breathe out. Let's now slide this left foot onto the right side. Hug in that left knee. Either wrap your right elbow around it, and you can be here in this twist, or you can hook the right elbow over the outside of the left knee. Left hand is behind you. Breathing here in Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes. So thinking about this flow of energy as water moving. 3 breaths more, my friends. And then let's turn to center. So we're going to, I don't think we did our opening of the arms, did we? I don't think we did. Well, let's do that. Let's open up our arms. And then take the right arm up to the sky, left them down. And then turn to twist. And then let's do it the other way around. So I just can't remember what we did, my friends. But I feel it like I knew I did this, but I can't remember when I did it, but I'm going to do it again here. Always when we do our own practice, it's not about perfection. Practice is practice. It's like when creativity. So I remember when children are very little and they start learning to draw and colour in, and they get so anxious about colouring in. And when they're very little, they scribble all over the page. And then as they get older, they start becoming more and more careful and wanting to stay in the lines. And then they can become more and more constricted and constrained, and helping them to discover that they can do whatever they like. It's their drawing, it's their page. And that's our practice. So when we first start practicing yoga, and especially when we're being guided, I'm talking again, we start like, oh, the teacher says do it this way, and we have to do it exactly like this way. Then you learn to be creative in your own practice, and your practice grows. Anyway, my friends, let's swing our legs around and come onto all fours. Let's do a figure of 8 with our hips one way, then another way. Circular movements. Let's do cat-cow with gentle swaying motion. So cat-cow, Madhyasana, Vikriyasana is a ripple through the length of the spine. And today I'm asking you to sort of freestyle it a little bit. So your hands don't need to be rigidly on the floor underneath the shoulders, and you sort of stay here. You can move backwards and forwards on your knees. You can bend into your elbows. Turn around. I love this sound because because I'm Vata, you can hear all my bones cracking, like when you get bubble wrap and you're squeezing all the bubbles. That's what it sounds like for my joints. And then, my friends, let's walk our left hand as far forward as we can. I'm going to turn so you can see. Left hand goes as far forward as I can. And then I bend into my right elbow. And then I can bring my left arm all the way down. My head goes down and I keep bending my right elbow. So we're slightly off balance. I'm just seeing what happened to my hairband. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Breathe here, because I know this is hard work, balancing on one side, the other side down. Now, my friends, let's take this right elbow, this right arm, and thread it underneath the left. So we come onto the right shoulder and the right ear now, threading the needle here. Left arm is as far forward as we can go. So it's a little bit different to child's pose, because we're up here and we're kind of moving into Anahatasana. And we thread this right arm underneath and then turn the gaze towards the right, towards the left, my friend, sorry. The right ear and shoulder are on the mat. 3 breaths here. And rise up, bend into this elbow. Extend this right arm long. And we'll be here in Anahatasana, melting heart, just for a moment. I don't want you to necessarily come very low to the earth. You can stay as high up as you want here. Or you can come fully to the earth, my friends. And then let's bend into the left elbow. So I'll turn around so you can see how we do that. Keeping the right arm extended, bend into the left elbow. So it's almost like a scaffold. So you're really opening the heart space around the right rib cage and underneath the armpit. And now, my friends, we're going to thread this left hand underneath the body. Bring the left ear and shoulder to the mat. Your sit bones are quite lifted. Toes are untucked or tucked, depending on what gives you more balance or stability here. Inhale. Let's lift up with the left hand and reach forward, come back into our variation of melting heart. It can be low to the earth or lifted. Arms can be parallel or as wide as your mat. We're opening along the side body, under the armpits, so we create more space for the heart. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Inhale, lift your gaze, my friends, and walk your hands back towards you. Take a moment here and then tuck your toes. Inhale, press into your arms and hover here. So lift the knees, engage the core, create tiger claws with your hands by pressing into the finger pads. So you can see my hands are not straight. I'm clawing the earth. So you suction the palms. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, hug in the navel. As if you are primed for action. Here we are remembering Kaalaratri, Kalyani. So Kalyani is the deity for, actually no, it's Kaalaratri. It is Kaalaratri. I thought it was Kaalaratri. Kaalaratri is for day 7. Kalyani is for day 6. So day 7 is Kalyani, Kaalaratri rather. And Kaalaratri is the most ferocious form of Durga. So although I'm feeling a sense of joy, this ferocity is like that fierceness, you know, when someone's just fierce, they just got it going on. They walk into a room and they're just like charismatic because of their sense of identity, sense of self is so potent and powerful that it draws everyone in. We all have that within us. So Kaalaratri means sort of the dark night. Kaalaratri. So this is the dark night, but it is the shining diamond or jewel or moon or star. So it's Om Hreem Shri Kaalaratri Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Kaalaratri Durgayai Namaha. Inhale, lift your tailbone. Let's take a lion's breath here, Siddhasana Pranayama. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through open mouth and poke out your tongue, roaring the breath out. Twice more. Roar if you wish. And my friends, let's walk our feet or jump, if you wish, to the top of your mat to come into a forward fold here. Wrap the right hand around the left ankle. Wrap the left hand around the right ankle so you cross at the wrists or forearms here. Bend into your elbows, bend softly into your knees and hug your heart so that you are really folded over here. Kaalaratri, ferocious form in which we dive into the shadows, which we clear the shadows away, but we feel protected and safe. Last night, my friends, I had the most powerful nightmare. And I remember it vividly today. And it wasn't an easy, it was a nightmare. But I woke up not afraid this morning. I woke up as if I'd seen, that I'd had some sort of revelation. Really the energy of Kaalaratri. I won't tell you the details of my nightmare, I don't want to freak you out. But I felt invigorated and enlivened when I woke up this morning from my nightmare. So this ferocious form, Kaalaratri Devi, helps us to really break free into seeing the beauty, the rainbow after the storm, the rain. Inhale, release your hands, unfold your spine, one vertebrae at a time to rise up. Tuck in the middle three fingers, extend the ring and little finger. Now at the top of your mat here, my friends. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Step the right leg long, bring the right knee to the earth. Untuck your toes or keep them tucked and rise up. Arms open here, my friends. So open out your arms in a V shape and have your mudra here. Pad your right knee if you wish. Sink into the left hip, so really drop into that left hip. Open out the heart, draw the shoulder blades together, open out the arms. Gaze up towards the sky. Om Hreem Shri Kaalaratri Durgayai Namaha. Exhale, hands to the earth. Tuck the toes, lift the right knee and step back long with the left leg. Body parallel, Balasana plank, or you can bring your knee down to the earth immediately. Claw the earth with your hands. And when you're ready, my friends, everybody join with knees to earth. Untuck the toes. Bend into your elbows and melt your heart down towards the earth to come up, to go through Ashtanga, and then release the belly to the earth. Rise up in Bujungasana Cobra. And here, my friends, let's sway backwards into child's pose and then forwards into Bujungasana. And when you're in Bujungasana, you can sway from side to side, melt back. And some of us might have a bit more flexibility in the spine here. Some of us a little less. And then one more time, flowing back into child's pose. And then coming into Bujungasana here, my friends. Keep the elbows tucked. Reach through the big toe here. Hug in the elbows, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And then lift your hands off the earth. They may be high or low. Exhale, hands to earth. Rise through table into mountain. Walk your feet, my friends. Sway your hips. And then let's take a lion's breath here. Simhasan Pranayam. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale completely through open mouth. And then, my friends, let's step forward with that. Bring that left knee to the earth. Step forward with the right foot. Open out the heart. Lift the heart. Lift the gaze. Bring your hands into your mudra by curling in the middle fingers and extending the thumb and index. Like that rocky pose, right? Heart open. Gaze up towards the sky. Emanating, shining, your personality, your essence, your true self. Glorious. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take a moment here, tuck that left toe and step forward in forward fold Uttanasana. And here, my friends, let's take our hands, cross them. So this time, let's do the opposite hand on top. So let's cross left arm over right arm over left, and hug everything in your forward fold, Uttanasana. And now, as we unfurl the spine to rise up, let's connect with Mahagauri. Mahagauri is the deity dedicated to the 8th night. Mahagauri is the light, so uncurl, is the light of peace and intelligence, not just like that book intelligence, but the intuitive intelligence that we all have. Our intelligence shines in a multitude of ways. It's multifaceted. It's emotional intelligence, spiritual. It is the ability to intuitively know when you are in alignment with self, when you're not. Hands reach up. Exhale. Let's do our prayer wheel to the heart, lotus prayer wheel. All the way to the heart. And then all the way up towards the sky one more time. And then let's fold down towards the earth. Let's step back with the left leg. This time, let's keep that left knee lifted, my friends. Inhale to rise up. Open out your arms wide. Opening them out wide. Inhale to rise up through the right leg. Exhale to bend into your elbows and bend into the right knee. Inhale to rise up. Straightening through that right leg, reaching the arms tall. Exhale to bend in to the knee and the elbows. Last time, rise up. Take a moment here. And then let's exhale down towards the earth. Hands reach the earth. Step back with the right leg long. Body parallel, Phalakasana. You can stay here And you can rise through, go through Chaturanga, Dandasana, and rise through Urdhva Mukha Shavasana, up dog, or you can come down on your knees, Ashtangasana, and then Bujungasana. So make your choice, my friends. Remember, those two are paired up. So go for whichever one you want. Chaturanga, Dandasana, and up dog. And then whether you're in Bujungasana or Urdhva Mukha Shavasana, let's sway here. So turn to look one way, then the other. Perhaps you fold forward and back, flowing from Cobra, Bujungasana to Child's Pose, from Up Dog to Crouching Tiger. And then let's everybody meet in Mountain Padma. Lion's breath here. Roar loudly. Clear the space. And my friends, I'm going to step forward with that left leg. Bend into your left knee and take the left foot towards your left hand. It can be wide of your left hand and then bring it in, or it can be on the inside of your left hand, depending on how much space you need. Remember that left foot can step out as wide as the mat and then shuffle in. When you're ready, my friends, from low lunge, let's rise up. Reach up with your arms. Bending that knee, and then rise that left leg, extending the left leg. Bend into your elbows, bend into the left knee. Rising and falling here. So our mantra for Mahagauri, the deity for the 8th day, the color for her is peacock green. So visualize peacock feathers. That's why we're doing this rising and falling. Like when the peacock's feathers fan open. The mantra here is Om Hreem Shri Mahagauri Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Mahagauri Durgayai Namaha. Last time here, my friends. Let's bring the hands down towards the earth and step with the right foot to meet the left. And again, cross your hands, this time in the opposite direction. Little seed, little bud, the heart of the lotus. And then unfurl, open out the petals, reach up, bring your hands into lotus, prayer wheel to the heart. And prayer wheel back, the Padma wheel to the sky above the crown, the 1,000-petal lotus there. And then hands back to your heart. Take a moment here, my friends. Beautiful practice. I love it. It feels great for me. But I'm in a happy mood today because just going over the cusp of Navaratri. Like when you climb a mountain. It's hard going when you climb to the top. And then you arrive at the top of the mountain or the top of the hill. And then you have this beautiful, expansive vista, this understanding, this clear-sightedness, perspective, and balance. And then it's like, you just go with the flow. It's easy. Just flows naturally. One breath here, my friends, and then let's turn quarter turn here to step to the middle of our mat. So we're going to move into our balance. And our balance is going to be kind of a variation of what we've been doing. So coming to Siddhidhatrayai, standing mountain, feet hip distance wide. Lift the toes and place them on the earth one by one. Bend into your knees, press through all four corners of the feet, and then inhale, zip up through the midline. So squeeze the mullah band, that's at the root, your pelvic floor. Hug in the navel towards the spine, and this is knitting your ribs in. It's very subtle movement. It's not a big movement because you still want to be able to breathe here. And then zip up and reach up towards the crown, draw the shoulders down and away, open out the hands, tuck in the middle 3 fingers here. Inhale, open out your arms, reach up. And then shift the weight into your left foot, peel the right heel off the earth, and step back with the right foot. And come onto the ball of that foot here. Bend into your knees ever so slightly. This left hip sort of juts out. Here, my friends, we're going to come into what we call a Veena Saraswati. So Saraswati plays an instrument called a veena. And this instrument is a stringed instrument. So holding this instrument here, gazing up towards the sky if you feel balanced and stable here. If you wish, you can always bring that left heel to the earth, or you can stay on the ball of that foot. Imagine you are really drawing apart your arms here so your heart is open. If it begins to feel uncomfortable in your neck to gaze up, you can bring your gaze to neutral, or you can gaze down towards the earth. So your thighs are feeling it here. Your arms are feeling it here. One more breath here. Inhale, let's draw the right arm up to meet the left here in this V shape. And then let's take the left arm down, right arm reaches up. Now let's definitely gaze down towards the earth first, towards the left, and then lift the gaze towards the right if you feel balanced here. The mantra for the final night and the deity for the final night is Siddhidhatrayai. Siddhidhatrayai. And Siddhidhatrayai is when the whole of nature is in harmony. It's encompassing all of nature and the beauty of nature. So where we are in the world now, in terms of climate change, recognizing that it's our responsibility to preserve the beauty of nature, to value and be grateful for nature's inherent harmony. Inhale, bring your head back to center, bring your foot back to center, and let's bring your hands to your heart in Padma. Prayer wheel to the sky to create length and line the spine. Then back to center, my friends. And now back into Tadasana, standing mountain. So perhaps you rock from the heels to the balls of your feet, lift the toes, place them down one by one, press through the big toe mound to the inner heel, press through the little toe mound to the outer heel. Open out the arms in a V shape, bend into the right knee, and let's take the left foot behind and come onto the ball of that foot here. So the right hip now reaches out. And when you're ready, my friends, let's bring the right hand down towards the earth, left hand reaches up. And you can gaze up towards the left. Keep your gaze neutral, you can gaze down towards the right, or you can move between the two. So this Siddhidhatrayai, Om Devi Siddhidhatrayai Namaha. Om Devi Siddhidhatrayai Namaha. Om Devi Siddhidhatrayai Namaha. This sense of culmination, of integration, in which all is in harmony. Let's bring the right arm up and then exhale left arm to the earth, right hand to the sky. That stays there. And again, you can start with gazing down, then gazing up, bend into the knees. Remember, you can always bring that, by bringing the heel of that left foot down, you might feel you're not going to have the bend in that left knee. And it might feel more difficult for you because it's more of a corkscrew, although your feet might feel more grounded and stable here. So just depends on how you're experiencing this. 3 more breaths here, my friends. Inhale, reach up with the left hand, bring the left foot back, hands to the heart in Padma, prayer wheel here, all the way up. And now let's prayer wheel all the way down. So take your feet slightly further apart, prayer wheel down into Malasana, little seat here in Malasana. Gaze into the lotus flower, into the palms. Remember, you can sit on blocks here. You can come directly onto the earth, my friends, depending on how you're feeling. Exhale to release your Padma. Release your hands. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. And my friends, let's come to the earth here. All the way down to the earth. I'm going to invite you to bring the soles of your feet together. So we're in Reclined Butterfly, Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees open. You can place a cushion or a rolled up blanket underneath each knee. So you have a little bit of support here. I'm going to use the blocks because they're handy. Let's rest the left hand on the heart and the right hand at the Swathi Sun Chakra area, which is just below the navel, sort of where the lower belly is. You can close your eyes here. If this feels uncomfortable for your lower back, my friends, you can have your feet flat on the earth with a bend in your knees. Close your eyes here. We have moved into union, Ardhanarishwara, union between Shiva, the conscious energy of the universe, and Shakti, the creative impulse of the universe. And this cycle of dissolution, preservation, and creation goes through these 9 nights. Om Dum Durgayai Namaha. Om Dum Durgayai Namaha. Om Shreem Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shreem Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. Om Aim Shri Saraswatiyai Namaha. And now I'll chant all 9 of the Devis for each day. Om Hreem Shri Shalaputri Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Brahmacharani Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Chandraganta Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Kushamanda Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Skandamata Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shreem Katyanayai Namaha. Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Kaalaratri Durgayai Namaha. Om Hreem Shri Mahagauri Durgayai Namaha. Om Devi Siddhidhatrayai Namaha. Om. I invite you to extend your legs and settle into Shavasana for at least 5 minutes or for as long as 15 minutes, covering yourself with a blanket, making yourself comfortable. And when you are ready to rise, remembering to roll over to one side and rise up slowly and mindfully, and closing your practice with Om Shanti. Dhanyavad, my friends, for joining me today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Navaratri blessings to you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.